Finally, during the sweltering heatwave in the summer of '76, production got underway in North London at Elstree Studios, and the impressive sets began to take shape. This is Studio 8 at Elstree. Being here now, it's really hard to picture it. Star Wars was being shot right here.
I went onto the sets and it was weird. It was amazing. You know, Darth Vader, stormtroopers, all of that. Golly Moses.
No, I don't think we really understood it. You know, I remember a couple of people on the crew said, well, what is it, a load of rubbish, you know, what does all this mean, you know, really said things like that. Initially there was a certain skepticism. Remember that special effects movies, space movies, had not been successful except 2001. And 2001, which of course was made in England, was sort of a kind of an intellectual end. So it really, space and special effects were considered sort of B movies. And this was a comic book, expensive B movie, I think a lot of people thought.
I think most of the crew thought it was a silly film. They didn't get to read the whole script, and so there were some humorous scenes in it, and several of the crew said that they thought it was more like a carry-on film.
We worked from like 8 o'clock in the morning until 11 at night because we were trying to fill a room full of aliens, and they only gave us 10 weeks to prepare for the movie. It wasn't such a big movie at the time. I was the new kid on the block. I got all the rotten jobs, first of all, which is always the case. I made the eyes for a lot of the creatures in the cantina. And in the room, there were like 5, 6 of us. On one side of the room, we had all the mixers where we were foaming latex, so that filled the room with ammonia. And on the other side of the room, we were painting the characters with toluene paint, and that filled the room as well. We were doing sculpting, and we were making molds, and we were building puppets. It was a time when I was needing to prove myself.
R2's sort of eye turret is in fact the air conditioner unit from a Caravelle, that sort of thing. So, you know, they are more interesting than you can imagine or produce in the time available.
Because they were designed for a function anyway.
A lot of intelligence has gone into their conception to start with, and it shows. They look interesting.
Production had been grueling, but things were beginning to come together for George Lucas.
I got to the set late one day and noticed there was some children on the set. And I thought, what's happening here? We don't normally have children on the set. And I asked, whose are they? And I think they're one of the Grip's children. And I watched them, and they were looking at R2-D2, absolutely fascinated. They were scared of the Wookiee. They get a bit back. But C-3PO they were looking at. I thought, this is interesting. And then a couple of days later, there were more children. And the crew started bringing 2 or 3 children at a time. And I started to think, well, if the children are relating at this level, maybe we have something.
We had a preview in early May of '77 in San Francisco with a general audience of a mixed bag of people that my office just pulled in, basically. Everybody from 3- and 4-year-olds to 70- and 80-year-olds, just so we'd have a cross-section of demographics. The studio wanted preview cards, and I still have one of those preview cards on my wall.
So begins the most lucrative film ever made in the history of the cinema. Today it topped £100 million in takings at the box office, and it hasn't even opened in Britain yet. The film, of course, is Star Wars.
The attendance at Star Wars has been almost astronomical. Queues are still forming. In America, more money was taken at box offices in 1 week than for the prestigious Jaws. In London, after a month, almost 600,000 flocked to see the film, an all-time record. What is the attraction of Star Wars? Who can say? There have been lavish spectaculars before. Perhaps it's because this one takes the best from all the rest. Color, breathless excitement, fantasy. And because we on this planet are already touching space with a tentative finger, more reality than we care to admit. The fact is, Star Wars is out of this world.
Well, we wanted to get in and see it on the only unreserved show, and it's booked through on the book hall shows right until March, and we couldn't afford to wait that long. And the prestige of being able to say you've seen Star Wars is something akin to royalty, really.
What's good for the cinema box office is joy for the toy shops. Whatever profits the filmmakers Lucasfilms have made, the spin-off industry in Star Wars toys has doubled it. And British firms, too, have felt the benefit.
The unlikely centre of every little boy's space-age universe is the Palitoy factory at Colville in Leicestershire. In a year, the ladies of Colville turn out hundreds of thousands of plastic bestsellers.
Here in Britain, we have extraordinary talent, both in the acting profession, but also, very importantly, in the production department of it.
We have this combination of creativity, hard work, and skills, sort of almost a military skill. And I still think the first Star Wars is the best one. It's got this magic about it.
To this very day, I still have to pinch myself, because people say to me sometimes, "You worked on Star Wars?" And yet you get viewed like that, but you don't feel like that. It's not, you know, I don't feel like a legend. I'm extremely proud to have been involved in it. I look at myself now as I get older and the rest of it, I think, bloody hell, Robert, how did that happen?